Hello again, you join me in the van. So this is the day after the last vlog where I showed you the last 6 months. That got released yesterday, and the feedback's been positive, so thank you very much. Basically, I'm just starting another load of clips. I don't know if it's going to be weekly, monthly, yearly, I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm just going to start recording some bits and catch some day-to-day life, mainly aiming on, it'll be tips, tricks, maybe, if they come across them, and the business side of things. So we'll have to just see how it goes. It's really hard, like I said before, filming the intro at the beginning when you don't know what the hell you've done, but we'll go from there. Anyway, first job, I've got some remedials after an EICR today. Then I've just got to go and look at a switch. It's a bit of a quiet day. It's a bit of a quiet month, to be honest. After my purple patch of work, it's gone quite quiet in January, but still got bits to do, so I'll crack on with it. Anyway, I'll see you in the next job. So my job today is here. I've done an EICR here, and this is a supply cable, so I'll just try and show it. And there's no actual earth coming off of this, so the earth's a sheath, so it's not ideal if that comes loose or anything like that. That's the earth. So we can get a banjo on there and a fly lead and get that up to the bar. Also going to seal in this top bit here and get some fire clips across some of these doors, so there's not a fire hazard in case of firefighters coming in. They can lose their apparatus when this prematurely collapses. So get these bits done and show you the result. Shit. So this is what I'm going to be installing. It's a little piranha nut. So yeah, you've got a sort of serrated edge here, so that goes down towards the metal, so it scrapes through any paint and anything to get a good earthing, a good earth. And then you've got a fixing screw, so you screw that down onto the thread, and then that's for your actual cable to come off of. And you notice there's bits all the way around it, so depending on where it lands when you're tightening it up, it's a clever idea really. As you tighten it up, whichever one's facing the front, you can then move these screws to suit. So very clever. Again, not teaching people how to suck eggs. This is aimed at learners and the like. So that's it installed. Can you see where it's cut into the paint to give it a better earth, a better chance of latching onto the metalwork? Then that's fixing the nut in place, and then we've got our fly lead coming off, going up to our bar. So yeah, if there is no separate CPC, I'm expecting to see these. It has to be in place really. The reading was okay, but you just need to make sure you're doing these properly. They should be installed correctly, and it's just laziness on the part of the installer. Anyway, let me get the other bits done. Okay, that's it all back together and connected. So let's see if our earthing nut has made a difference. So last time the ZDB was 0.43. So we'll get a nice good connection on there. And our reading's 0.28, so that's significantly lower. So it just shows that you need to be installing your SWA glands correctly, because that has drastically improved our reading. Right, that's me sorted at that job. I'm now heading back over to Harlow, just to look at some switches. Basically, I went to go and install them, and you get, on some older houses, the boxes sit proud, and the customer bought a load of decorative switches, and they just did not fit, nor did it cover where the paper had been cut around the switch. So I actually found a website where they do larger stuff exactly for this reason, and she's got one of those. I'm just going to go and install it. Hopefully it's right, and then she's going to buy the rest of them because they're quite expensive. But yeah, it's going to, I doubt I'm going to get much content there because it's literally a switch. But yeah, I'll hopefully go through a few more bits back at the garage. Seamless transition again. I actually forgot to do the zoom out on that switch, so amazing editing skills and filming tech as usual. Anyway, I just wanted to talk to you about this. Got this for Christmas. It's really cool. So it's a jump starter for van, cars, whatever else. And let's turn it off. Basically, it's got a little emergency. I mean, I've just pumped up 2 tyres. It has taken out 2 bars, to be fair to it. My back tyres on the van were quite low. They're down to 28. I thought they were looking a bit rubbish. Anyway, yeah, you just set the PSI on this little screen here, and it will just turn off automatically. It is absolutely banging. Proper You got it in bar, PSI, other crap, and let's turn it off. Yeah, then you can plug it in, jump start. Used it to well, another version of this to jump start my decrepit car. I don't think it's been on this channel, but if you follow me on Instagram, you see I have an ancient Mercedes CLK, and it just dies all the time. Basically, old cars, big engines, and with all the electronics, they just die if you don't drive them for 2 weeks. So I was in desperate need for one of these. Anyway, obviously not sponsored or anything like that, but it's well handy having something like this on the van for emergencies. Getting stuck at the side of the road, pumping things up, the call out charge for AA or other things like that. I just think it's well worth having at least a battery pack, because the amount of times you accidentally leave stuff plugged in, cigarette light. I mean, this van does shut off, but it doesn't take much to leave a light on or something like that, and you've got a completely dead battery. Anyway, let me start another clip. So at that previous job, the switch fitted anyway, and the customer's going to order all new ones. I just quickly nip there just to stick it on the wall, let them see it and what have you. I'm not charging them for it, and then I'll go back and I'll change all the switches out for them. It's just a bit of a pain in the bum and a bit of an awkward job, but I'm that's it. That's all I had for today. So there are quiet periods, and January isn't the best month as a rule. I mean, this is my second January, but the first January I was like new. I had nothing going on. In fact, this time last year I was doing a rewire with Ricky Byrne. I don't know if you're on Instagram, follow Ricky Byrne. He's really good lad. And yeah, I was doing a rewire with him and getting some subby work off of Instagram. But this year I'm trying to keep it 50-50 with my subbing. So Monday today, that's all I had. I'm going to focus on admin. Going to have a little sort out some of the rubbish in here. Going to be doing working basically. I'm not just going to sit at home waiting for the phone to ring. I've had an inquiry through on my website since I put that video up, so it's that seems to be paying dividends. So if you're interested in Faultless electrical services, fill out a form. But yeah, this is a platform, and all social media is a platform for advertising yourself. So I'm hoping to show more of my work on here, and obviously, you know, I cover London, Essex, Hertfordshire, Cambridge. Anyway, but yeah, that's what I've got today. Tomorrow I've got a little remedial job that I've done an EICR. Just got some remedials from that, so I might be able to get a little bit of footage there, not sure. And then I've got 2 days subbing, which I want to go more into detail on the day, like show you what I'm doing and sort of the arrangement I sort of have. And it's like jobbing jobs around London for my mate Luke, so it's pretty cool. But I'll show you that on the day if I can, because again, it's a different customer. I'm not going to be filming in people's houses without permission and what have you, but sometimes there's interesting faults, so it might be a case of showing you some pictures of the job like afterwards rather than taking you around and whatever else. Anyway, rambling again. Let me talk to you about tools for a sec. I just want to talk to you a little bit about tools. I mean, it might be a bit preachy and whatever else, but you see a lot of people on the interweb with the flashiest tools, and they've got, you know, the new this, the new that, and it's not the most realistic thing, in my opinion. A lot of them are gifted and stuff like that. So for young people coming into the industry, just, you know, any tool will do when you're starting. Obviously there are better bits and bobs, but if you look after them, they're going to last. So for example, I got this when I come out of my time. This is a 15-year-old hammer. It's still going strong. Do I need a new flashy one that's got a designer brand on it? No, it's a good hammer, and it was bought for me. It was a gift. Got different bits like in my tool bag. That cost £3. That pad saw. Are there better ones out there? Yeah, probably. But what's wrong with this one? This Kimmy showed this on her Instagram. This was $4.99 from Amazon. These croppers, absolutely amazing. I got this when I started as an apprentice in 2006. There's nothing wrong with it. You know, the bag, I would never pay this much money for a bag. I'll be honest with you. There are loads of people out there sponsored, and they'll get a load of this stuff free, including my previous employer, where I got this bag for free. But this is like, you're talking a couple £100 for a bag. It's just mental. The price you can pay. I mean, is it good build quality? Yes. And will it last? I imagine so. But it's a lot of money to invest. So at the beginning, don't be trying to keep up with Joneses. This is way too expensive for apprentices and people coming into the trade. Yeah, like gifted to me. That is a really good tool, to be fair. old manky screwdrivers. There's nothing wrong with this. It ain't a thrash. It's like brick tool or something, but I think there's a few companies that use the same one. I think even Stanley used the same mold. You know, this, I mean, I pinched out from my first company I worked for. I got that tool bought for me, and it came with me because it wasn't exactly on a tool con or anything like that. There's just loads of bits, cheap. I mean, that's not a cheap level, to be fair. But what I'm trying to get at is you just don't have to spend a fortune. You know, these cost an absolute arm and a leg. Would I buy them? No. I got them for free because of the company I work for. So it's just being realistic about things, because not all tools are created equal, but then you don't need to spend an extraordinary amount of money on tools. Like I've got a dustbin here full of old decrepit tools that I barely use. Second box marker that I used to absolutely love. They stopped making these. These are the CK old design, absolutely brilliant tools. But everything, it just as and when, you know, don't rush to keep up with people on the internet. You know, it's not a fair representation of the real world. You know, when you go out there, people do spend money on tools. I do. I mean, what I do is basically anytime I get scrap, I invest it in myself and in company tools, whatever, and that's wherever I've been. So as an apprentice, we used to get quite a lot of scrap off of some of the big jobs we've done, like putting in transformers. We'd be ripping out loads of big tails and stuff. And all of the scrap I got, like that paid for my 2391. The scrap money I got from there, like I always invested it back, and I invested it in tools. So yeah, it's quite easy to go beer money, but you can invest it in tools and anything like that. Just wanted to, you know, sort of say something about it, because it's just sometimes it just looks unrealistic. You can see I'm not trying to like act like I'm salt of the earth or anything like that. I'm just saying that I don't waste money on bits I don't need. My tools, there might be a better tool for the job, and if I've got the money spare, I will buy it. However, my old decrepit tools do the job just fine. Right, that's enough rambling for Monday. I'm going to crack on and actually do some bits, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Another seamless transition. Right, it's Tuesday. There's not much going on except some remedials. I've got to re-terminate some tails, bond into the water, and a shower switch that needs to be replaced. So it's not really much. I don't think I'll be able to film there at all. So there might be some pictures on the screen now if I can be bothered to edit it later. Which, knowing me, I'm not that great at editing. I'm hoping to get better this year. But anyway, tomorrow I'm doing some subbing, so I'm hoping to get some more footage there. But again, it's up in the air whether that's going to actually happen. But if there's interesting stuff, I will show it. I'm still not sure what this video is going to be, whether it's going to be weekly, monthly, whatever. So who knows? I'm digging out my testers and charging them up because I'm hoping to do some more content testing. I'm just trying to find the right job to do it, to show some actual on the tools using the instrument. I want to go through some test sheets as well. So I know a few people have got asked about the different tick boxes, what to fill in the different boxes and that kind of stuff. I want to go through some of that in a video in the future. Bags rustling over there. And general inspection stuff. So I've started a series on inspections, and I want to continue that and continue to grow it. But that's as and when I come across the particular fuse boxes. So there's certain niches to certain ones and certain things to look out for, so I'm hoping to make a mini series on that. Anyway, hopefully I'll pick this up tomorrow morning on the way down to, I don't know, I think I'm in London. Anyway, should I do another seamless transition? I think so. Okay, so now it is Thursday. So yesterday I couldn't actually film that much because of the site I was on. I did film some little clips which I'm going to try and overlay here as I'm talking about it. But basically I was doing a first fix on a commercial project. So this building warehouse was being converted into like 3 podcast sort of studios. There's like an art studio and different bits. And basically I was just going around wiring and first fixing sockets. So all stud partitions were up, and then they closed half the walls. So you have the stud frame up, and then they put plasterboard on one side of it. And then you can go around, put all your cables in, put in half your boxes, and then they close it up for first fix. And yeah, there was a bit of lighting and different bits and bobs. Nothing too interesting, but I mean, it was a lot of graft. And where was I in? I was in like Hackney area. So it's pretty, it's a laborious day and very tiring. I feel absolutely cream crackered today. I wish I could have filmed more, but it's like when I'm working for other people, I want to respect them and their clients. Actually, I'm not even sure if can you see me, or is it just the steering wheel? Let me move that over a little bit. But today, Thursday, I've just got a fault find to do. So there's an underfloor heating not working, and then I'm going over to a remedial job. So the guy I'm working for, he uses a software called ServiceMate. I've got the app on my Android phone. It doesn't work that well, and yeah, he just drops the jobs on there, and then off I go. Sometimes I've got to go get materials and different bits. So it's kind of like being employed, insofar as it's just I turn up. It's just man and a van, and that's the deal we have. I have a little bit of stock of my own stock, and then if I do use any bits, I kind of bill him for it, or just give him a list of what I've used. And yeah, it works out well between the two of us. It's, for me, I get some interesting faults, and I like jobbing and fault finding, and a lot of his work is that kind of remedial works, and it keeps my brain ticking over, and it's stuff I enjoy, and I actually get a lot of content out of it. So on my Instagram, I normally post up crazy bits I find, and it's quite a lot of it's from his work. So for me, it works out quite well. Obviously, I'd rather it be all of my work, and eventually it will be like that. It will be, but at the minute, it's a very mutually beneficial thing, and it's something where I've mentioned in other videos where there's tons of people out there, and then they get to a point where they just get too busy, and you got to start looking at taking on staff or what have you. But you can do what Luke's doing, which is start subbing out, which is a little bit, there's some risk in both, like employing someone, if the work runs out, it's a huge risk. But if you've got someone as a subby, getting to know them, their work, whatever else, it can be a bit risky, because they could let you down and let your clients down and let you down because you're representing them. But yeah, it's working out between us. It's a good working relationship, and I just look like a weirdo talking to no one in my van at the minute. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to try and get a couple of clips and bits today. I might be able to do a little bit of filming, but we'll have to see. Anyway, let me take you wherever we're going next. I've had a look at that heating system and gone through it, testing methodically. So basically I've called for heat, and then it goes over to the thermostats in each of the rooms, in each of the zones, and then turning them on, it sends a signal back to the wiring center, which then goes off to the valves, and then the valve should open when it's calling for heat. They don't appear to be open, so it seems to be the valves that are at fault. So everything in the electrical systems is basically a switch, no matter how complicated it seems. Like if you've got some fancy pants thermostat or whatever it is, it's just a switch. It's just on or off. And when you think of things like that, it does get a little bit easier when you're doing fault finding and things like that. So it appears to stop there. I'm not an expert with heating systems, but I can diagnose where the electricity stops and where the issue appears to be, because it could have been a case that there weren't a return sort of switch signal from the thermostat, so then the thermostat would be at fault. If nothing was getting to the thermostat, then perhaps the wiring center or control center was at fault. So this narrowed it down to that area, and then I reckon if we could just get a bunch of new valves on there, then it will start opening. But the other thing is the valve could have failed mechanically, so where it pushes it down, that can fail on C's. So yeah, so we'll just have to see what Luke, the guy I'm subbing for, recommends. It might be a case that they send out someone else, like a heating engineer, who's probably going to have spares like that on the van to change over, or it might be a case that they order the parts and send me back. We'll have to see. Anyway, I'm going to go off to my next job, which is in Hackney, and it's a load of remedials with my mate Andy. Right, it's Friday. You join me in my crappy car, so I've just had to use the jump starter to get this thing going. So it's now running, and the instruments started to work now. It's that dead, the battery. The cold patch over winter, obviously, well, over Christmas period, has obviously killed it. Yesterday I didn't get to film as much as I wanted to, so there might have been some clips before here on a little job I was on, but it just wasn't a suitable place. So what I've figured going forward now is I'm not going to tell you I'm going to join you here or there or whatever. It'll just be a surprise like in the other clips, and I'll carry on filming any little bits and bobs related to how I'm getting on. for the rest of this month. I think that's the best way to do it, because it's not really working out. Anyway, like I say, I'm in my piece of shit car. This thing, do you know what? Actually, that's not fair. It is a nice car. In fact, let me tell you the story behind this car. So this car was actually gifted to me by the person that taught me. So my mentor and my inspiration, best guy ever, Winston Clark. He's the guy that taught me. I get to get taught by other people, but he's the main geezer, and he's the best electrician bar none. Everyone else is just playing second fiddle to him. And he had a stroke in 2016. So obviously he can't do this job anymore, and it was a really bad one. He was on holiday in Jamaica, and yeah, he had a stroke. He had to get flown to Miami because there wasn't the medical support there, and yeah, it was really rough. And I lost like a best friend of mine that day, and it was a really rubbish time in my life. So I just happened to be going through a divorce as well. So yeah, it was a bit shitty, but it's way worse for him. Anyway, after a year or so, it was like he bought this car for his retirement. He had the same car his whole life, although when he bought his car, it cost more than his house. So it was a really nice Nissan 300ZX, I think it was, like the turbo one, from like 1989. And he bought it brand new, and it cost more than his house. So he had the same car, and then he decided to buy this car for a retirement present. And basically, it was his goal to get back in this car, but it just wasn't going to happen. So in the end, he gave this car to me, and it was such an honor. You know, Winston has 3 sons, and like his reasoning behind it was, he said, "You're the only person that bothers with me." And that's not to say his family don't, but I was going around seeing him once a week religiously, always trying to get him to get better. And he said, "Yeah, I want you to have it." And so I have kept this car, but it's sentimental to me. But it's one of these cars, like, if there's any petrol heads, you might understand. I'm not a petrol head, but this car is a 5-litre V8 CLK. Now Mercedes, they cost a lot to keep on the road. Like just a bit of suspension would cost me like 500, 600 quid just for the part. So it's an expensive car to run. And obviously, as it's a V8, I mean, does it even tell me on here what the MPG is? I mean, it doesn't help that I've not moved. 13 miles to the gallon, so that's good. But I'm trying to hang on to it, and I got rid of my old car. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen my turmoil. So I had the same car for 11 years. I ended up scrapping it to keep this vehicle, mainly to keep Winston's, you know, this is his thing, and he wanted to keep this alive and everything else. And yeah, it was a really touching moment for him to give me this, and yeah, it shows the impact I was having on his life at the time. And yeah, this has got that emotional link to it. So sometimes things are just things, but sometimes they do have a strong emotional attachment behind them. So yeah, now I'm stuck with a car that is not very reliable. It's reliable once it gets going, but it just, the battery dies on it. It's got so many electronics. I think this seat here, like when my kids get in and out of it, there's like a switch that doesn't click, and then it's like in a charged mode or something, because this headrest moves up and down when you move the seat, and I think that's what's killing the battery. Anyway, I'm not an auto electrician, but what I am doing is I've got this old girl fired up. I'm going down to see Winston. I'm not going to be filming in there or anything like that. It's his privacy and his life and whatever else. But yeah, it was just to explain this rubbish, no, not rubbish, this car, this burden and the attachment behind it. But coming in clutch, absolutely amazing thing. Hopefully you can hear me, because it is a loud car. Oh, it's a motorbike going by. Anyway, I'm going to head down there, and for the rest of the month it's just going to be random clips of bits and bobs that go on, or ramblings, things that have made me ticked off, whatever it may be, going forward. But anyway, I'm going to go and drive this car before I run out of fuel, because idling is just so expensive. Anyway, catch you in a bit. Right, that's me done at Winston's. I actually just recorded this whole clip with the camera facing the wrong way, so sick. Yeah, whenever I go around there, it's just so sad to see him. It's a shadow of his former self, and obviously he's a massive inspiration to me, but it makes you realize how lucky you are, you know, because a lot of the time you get hung up and you're comparing yourself to others, and you know, why am I not doing as well as that person? That person's doing better, this, that, and the other. And it's like you get caught up in this whole materialistic thing. And it's like, you know, if you've got your health, you're just the luckiest person alive. You know, you see some people out there that are really, really got it tough, and it makes you realize that you're just being a bit of a melt. I know, I'm not taking away from people, you know, people have ups and downs, and, you know, I know people have it better and worse than others, and I'm not diminishing people's pain, but, you know, sometimes you just got to check yourself and you're like, yeah, I'm a hella lucky person compared to others. Anyway, on a lighter note, I'm off to go and pick up my kids from school. So I don't work Fridays as a rule, because when I want to be able to, it's that work-life balance, and I go and pick my kids up on a Friday. And, you know, when I was employed, I'd finish work 4:30, about 5 normally, and then have to drive down from like Cambridge area all the way down to North London. And, you know, that 2-hour journey or 1.5 hours, you're just not in a frame of mind, and I'm driving all the way back home, and it's just eating into time, eating into my energy. So I'm not coming at my, you know, picking them up with the right attitude, and, you know, you're just knackered, and you want to have that work-life balance. And part of being self-employed means that I can choose to work whenever I want. Obviously, I'm losing money because I've not gone to work today. However, I'm never going to get these opportunities again. And something that the people that taught me said, that they were too busy earning to provide for their children, that they weren't actually there for them, and, you know, they become estranged from their kids and different bits. So although, you know, it's something where my old man is a grafter, everything else, and provided and done bits, you know, never went without, and but then you're not present, so it can have other effects. And I always want to be present anyway. That's not me knocking my old man or anything like that, it's just how things were. But I'm breaking the cycle, and I want to be present. So God, that took a bit of a dramatic tone, didn't it? But part of being self-employed means that I can be here and be present. So yeah, that is probably going to be it for today and this week. However, next week I've got EICR, and it's actually from my first ever video, so you can go check that out if you want to. My first ever video for Artisan Electrics. That person contacted me to go and do some work, so yeah, I'm doing some work there, and then I'm doing some subbing. It's a bit of 2 rubbish days. It's at this job. I might be able to get some footage, but on Thursday I'm meeting up with a fellow YouTuber. Oh, I'm not a YouTuber, I'm just a guy that points a camera at himself. I suppose I am a YouTuber. Anyway, I'm meeting up with a fellow guy. He's got a potty mouth, and so you might be able to guess who it is. But anyway, I'll catch you next week. Right, it's Monday. You join me on a job. I do look like Ice Cube from the 90s. But I'm going to talk you through this job and what I've done this morning. So up on screen now, there should be some little clips of a job I've done this morning. So I done a EV charger for my previous employer yonks ago, and the guy's got me back to do an EICR after he'd done some works himself. So he's done a bit of alterations to the wiring, and just done an EICR there. There's a few issues raised, but the guy's going to get me back and get it all rectified, ready for the sale of his home. So hopefully those clips have ended on screen and you join me here. Now, let me take you through this job. So let me take you to the maintenance. You might recognize this cupboard because a bit of trunking fell on me in a previous video about an ancient fuse board that used to be here. So I have done a little bit of work since then. As you can see, there's a new fuse box in place, and yeah, the lights are off at the minute because there's some bits, but I'll show you what's going on. Anyway, so if you remember, there was an old ancient fuse box here. So the guys decided to go for an upgrade, upgraded this, downgraded the RCD. So the sockets are now on a 25 amp because the ring wasn't really, too many spurs off of it. We've got a cooker circuit, a lighting circuit, and then the boiler here. So there's been that work done. There's been bonding to the gas down there, water on the other side of the place. There's been some remedials, so let me take you through. This wall was chipboard, so they've had it redone and replastered. So I need to redo that switch. This was a dodgy light. It's been replaced. I'm doing spotlights in here now. So you can see, got my stud buddies up there, marked out my joists. I've got some marks, just marking where the guy wants me just left. And yeah, there's been some other bits. There's been a cooker circuit put in, so there's a cooker switch, an outlet which I'm just putting on the wall now, an outlet for the extractor. I mean, this is the original wiring. You can see there's just a bit. I mean, it's clip direct, so there is a socket there, so that is actually in a zone, but it's clip direct on the surface, so it's a bit of an irrelevant point. There was a socket here, that's all dead. It was spurred off of that one. Anyway, waffling on. There's also pop bricks here. So where can I show you it? Hang on, I'll start another clip. So in here we have, it's like a Spanish brick, pop brick. See this? It's like a hollow. Look, it goes right through. And they're back to back with next door. So if you're not careful, you can go through to the next door. But you can see it's just open. You've got this first bit of brick, and then this bit just completely falls through. And that's exactly what's happened here. So you can get one fix in normally on one of the lines, and then just expand and foam the rest of it. But it can be a bit of a mare to fix. And it just was another small issue on this job. In here, there's all these sockets low down that just need replacing. There's 2 lights. There's just temporary pendants while they're plastering the ceiling that need to go on. This is the other side of this wall. It used to be a doorway, and it was just a bit of chipboard, so I'm just going to redo that switch. I've redone that socket already. And is there much upstairs? Redone the bonding. There's nothing exciting upstairs. I mean, it's nothing exciting at all here anyway, but this was one of the jobs that I had that was a decent run before Christmas, because yeah, I've done loads of quotes for different bits. They all came in, and yeah, happy days. So I'm going to finish off this cooker bit and then invoice for that job. Sorry, I'm a bit close. And then I'm going to come back on Monday next week and finish off this ceiling. Might take you through marking up and doing different bits, but I've done it before, and I mean, it's on my previous employer's channel, but I really went into depth. So if you do want any tips and tricks on how to do downlights, head over there and watch yours truly show you how to do it. Anyway, let me end this clip here and we'll start talking about something else. Right, I'm upstairs now, and outside, can't just, but I mean, there's a pub right there, the Popular Kitten in Harlow. If I lived here, it'd be absolutely dangerous, but yeah, all the floors are up, got the bonding over, and it's just underneath here, got it down the wall. Yeah, this wasn't all plastered. I mean, I've left all the lights hanging down like that. I did refix them and earth them. This, again, is a false wall. They've had to redo it. And yeah, they made the bedroom smaller to make a shower in here. I know, riveting stuff, but yeah, it's just to show you what I'm up to. Oh, a handsome man. Again, they've left that down. I've put some extra sockets in. So there's a socket there that I've chased off of. There's an extra socket there, you can't see it. I'm not responsible for that switch. Although it's worth noting anyway, because we're just full of random facts here. See these, hang on, let me get in a bit closer. See how they're made of like a paper? That's not metal or anything like that. So it's an insulated bit. So if there's no earth, I mean, there is earth on this cable, but this installation is at an age, if you watch that video, CPCs are on the lights. So that came into place in 1966. So this is probably on and around that time, and so is most of Harlow, but they're thrown up at different times. But this one actually has a separate CPC. So these boxes are a bit of a moot point, but when they didn't have it, it just meant that the screws were insulated. So if something happened and a cable popped out and touched the box, the screws wouldn't come live. It's pretty nifty, really. But these do get absolutely wrecked. And but they're an upgrade from the wooden back boxes, which I've shown again on the channel before. But yeah, that's about as much riveting information that's been going on this job, really. So this job came about through word of mouth. So my in-laws recommended me to these guys, and they have subsequently recommended me to friends and family of them. And I'm hoping that that's going to carry on snowballing out. But the YouTube is leading me to more work as well. So since releasing that other video, I've had more inquiries. So it seems to be a great thing. So if you are looking to do your own work and what have you, set up on your own, obviously I'm in a unique position where I feel like my YouTube has grown quicker because I was known before. But Mark Allison's done a video on this exact thing about marketing and different bits and bobs, and just picking up a camera and doing this and putting it online. Don't worry about views or anything like that. It means that customers can find you, and when they're searching for specific things, if you're selling a unique thing in a certain area, then you're going to come up, and it's just more hits on the internet, and it can't hurt, can it? And it gives you a chance to showcase your work and like a buffoon like me half the time. Anyway, tomorrow I'm in Northwest, I want to say Northwest 8, so I'm doing some subbing. It's just a block of flats, and I'm hoping to do a standalone video there because the mains there are so old and decrepit, it's unbelievable, and they've had all sorts of issues there. But if not, I'm going to show you here as well. So I'll see you over there, and yeah, and then on Thursday I've got some work with a loudmouth person who swears a lot. Morning Instagram. I've got a new driver for today. Say hello, driver. Fuck off. As you can tell from those two clips, I was working with Jaime Blatant, so if you don't follow him on YouTube, he's definitely worth a follow or sub, whatever it is. He does lots of teaching content to do with motors and controls and all sorts of bits, and some really good content. He also does some business content on there, which has been really good, like for myself as well, because yeah, it's just going into the ins and outs and bits, and that's the whole point of this, is sort of showing the real side of me trying to make a success of this. So yeah, it's actual electrical content. It should be down in the bio or whatever it is for this video. I'll link his channel. Anyway, I couldn't film much there because it's a sensitive site, yada yada yada, but I learnt a load there. Got to go through a load of CT metering with him, and it was really interesting. Yeah, so it was a great experience, but unfortunately for views, there is no footage from there apart from those two silly clips. Today I am back in this gaff here to do these lights and finish up all the other bits, so I can hopefully close off both of the invoices that are still open, because yeah, it's getting a bit tight. It's currently the 27th of January, and yeah, my bank account is not looking great because I've got so many different bits that are outstanding. So fingers crossed, if I get this all closed off today, I can close these two invoices and get a few £100 in, and then because basically what I have is my the business account sends money to my current account, so it's like a standing order. So I think it's on the 29th or the 30th, it sends money over. And yeah, if it does that, if it's too low, then obviously my bank will go into negative money, which is never a good thing. Anyway, my depressing life aside, let's I think I went through this before earlier in the video, but I'll just show you quickly. So I've got my marks on the ceiling. These are my joists. I use a stud buddy to locate these. There are different ways you can do it. So just magnets that are picking up the nails where the board was fixed to the ceiling, and that's giving us our rough gaps. But I am going to confirm these with the measurements upstairs because the boards are up. So what you can use is a datum point. So where this cable comes through, I can see that above, and I can measure that hole directly to the nearest joist and to the nearest joist, say, and then I can measure the gaps and jot them down on a bit of paper, and then actually confirm that these are correct. Because this is a completely finished plastered ceiling, brand new, the customer spent a bit of money on it. Obviously I don't want to ruin it and sort of go through and whack a joist or something like that, because yeah, it's going to look a bit unprofessional of myself, isn't it? And then you can just go through gently. So I'll just put a pilot hole and give it a little spin and make sure there's nothing up there before I commit, and then send it with the hole saw here. And I think, where is my dade? I do have a dade somewhere as well, which is one of those dust and debris eliminators, because the kitchen has gone in much more than it was supposed to do, and the oven's in, which is not supposed to be. I said don't put the oven in because I've got to change the plate on it, but alas, they have. So anyway, I'm going to start doing some bits anyway. I don't need to show you this crap. It's just some boring install stuff, and I'll catch up with you in a bit. Right, as you might be able to notice, I got a new fancy pants camera, which is recording me and apparently going to follow. Oh, it does follow me. Check it out. Sheesh. Anyway, I've drilled the holes in the ceiling. I'm not going to show you all of this stuff because like I said, I've got a really in-depth one. It's not on my channel, but it is me doing it on over on my previous firm's channel. But I just wanted to talk about some of because I was chatting to Jaime and yeah, he's had his business established for a few years. Go and watch his business blog; it's really good. And it's talking about like the next steps and upping myself. And I really think, because at the minute I'm a sole trader, so I think the best thing for me now is to set up limited, and I've just been kind of looking into it, because the stuff that you can save, the bits you can claim back on, it's just more efficient. However, as far as I know, and this is on my limited knowledge of it, I wouldn't be able to cope with all the accounting and bookkeeping when it comes to that side of things, and all my tax returns. So I'd have to start paying monthly to an accountant. And looking at some deals, they're sort of like £100 to £150 a month. So it's a big cost. But in theory, I should recoup that, because rather than me paying 20%, I sort of can pay myself dividends and only pay 8%. And it seems like it's going to be the more viable option for me going forward. And then obviously the as it says, limited liability is that the company is responsible for anything that happens or goes wrong, not me personally. So if I got knocked, say, and I owed a wholesaler a massive amount of money, the company would be liable, not me. So they couldn't come after me and my assets. Not that I have many assets. I mean, they can keep my car if they wanted to, but it does seem to be the way to go. But it's nerve-wracking when you ain't got tons of work, like months like this, where, you know, I'm just about scraping by. You think, do I really need the overheads of an accountant and different bits and bobs? You know, so it's something I've definitely got to look into. I've definitely got to just speak to an accountant, and once I do, I can kind of pass on what I've learned. But it seems to be the logical steps, because, you know, I'm just a small one-man band that can just disappear overnight, and a lot of companies do. And you want your customers to have faith in you. Although my face is plastered all over the internet, so in theory, I'm not going anywhere. But, you know, if it's, people can check me on Company's House, they can see I'm legit. And yeah, that seems to be the next viable step for me, speak to all different people. It's like I say, like, no one's ever gatekeepers. And as Jaime quite famously says, it's like, you're more better off, rather than paying for all these stupid courses and whatever else, find someone that's doing it, take them down a pub and pick their brains for a little while, because that's exactly what I did, and just chatted away to him. I feel like a weatherman. I just keep moving this hand. I don't know why. Like, there's a golf front over here. I don't know what the hell's going on. Anyway, I just thought I'd dump some whirring around my head. But I think that's the next viable step for me. I might do it in line with the next financial year, so that, because I believe I've got to do payment on account. So, well, you paid the tax for next year. I still haven't got that far, so I'm not sure if I'm right on that. But then if I do go limited, then I don't think I'll have to pay that, and then I can kind of change things over. But I did read that limited's company's books go from the birthday of the company, so I can start at any time, really. I need to speak to an accountant, really, don't I? If I show you up here quickly, so this is where our original light is. You can see they just lashed that cable across there. Not very clever. So I've drilled a row of holes across here. One of our lights are in the trap by the cable. One of them's in this trap here. And then the other one is here. Now, as you can see, tiled, bathtub, tiled. So it's a bit of a mess. So what I'm gonna have to do is come from here, go along, hit that light, come back, that light, come back, and then come all the way along here into this room. You see I've got a little trap up here, and then I'm going to shove some rods up now. Hopefully that'll come up in that trap rather than that one. It should be this one. And then I can wire and hit those two lights. It's always a bit tricky. It's the joys of running. You just never know what's under the floorboards and what noggins and other bits are going to be there. But that's how I got double confirmed off of that datum point, off of the, hang on, my camera's all over the gaff, this datum point here. So I measured that way to this joist, and then this way to this joist, and that was a double, and confirmed my markings before I drilled my holes, just to be double sure that I weren't going to hit anything. Anyway, how can I be out of breath? I really need to lose some weight. Right, that's it all done here. I've got them semi-pushed up into the ceilings just so they can decorate rather than getting pushed in and out, because it will no doubt go wrong. These ones here, I think they wanted them here, so if I flip you around, they wanted them dead centre of that bit. I mean, I did advise them to bring it out slightly, because you can get like a bit of a shadow casting along here. It's not casting a big shadow, but you can see like there, even if it was moved over, say that much, you just get a better light distribution. But it's what my customer wanted, so that's all I can do. Every other bit's done here, so I can finally get the 2 invoices in. So I had an invoice for the cooker circuit, wiring that, connecting the hob, and then doing another one for all these down lights. Then I had another one that he's already paid, and that's for all the little remedials around this property, which I still have to come back for. So there's these lights here. They're just temporary pendants, as I said before. But I've got to come back, and when he's ready, I've already been paid for it, and it sucks because it's like you've got to come back for free. I know I've already been paid, but psychologically, like, it doesn't really work. Anyway, I'm just going to go and fit some switches at another property. Then I'm actually off tomorrow. I've got no work, but a call's just coming, so go and do a quote up in Cambridge. So might be able to get a bit of footage there. But yeah, the whole point of this isn't so much to try and show you stuff or do educational stuff. It's just kind of showing the day-to-day life of how I'm getting on, because I know a lot of people are in a similar position to me or thinking of doing what I'm doing. So that is the whole point of this. And yeah, and me just rambling as well. That's basically all this is going to be: rambling, moaning, and hopefully bits that I learn that might help you. Anyway, oh yeah, by the way, it has been filmed on my phone, then it's been filmed with a microphone. It was filmed in 8K on my phone, and then now it's been filmed on this from today. So there may be difference in sound, quality, video, all sorts. It's going to be a mare trying to edit it. Anyway, see you in the next clip. Right, that switch job's done now. It was basically just replacing all the switches, but it's an odd one. L1 wasn't actually L1, it was L2. So all the switches were upside down, so I had to quickly go and flip them all. And I had to cut lugs out. It just was never as straightforward as you hope it's going to be. But that always seems to be the way, to be honest. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about what I've been finding over the last year, really, because like, I'm looking at my jobs and I've not been doing things for profit. So, you know, I'm been pricing things for me to earn a wage and to cover my costs. But that's not really right. And it's just ignorance on my part, and I'm learning, and we all learn. And basically, I need to be putting a allowance on each one of my jobs for profit, because you think, if it's okay for now, but in say three years time, when the van is kaput and other bits need doing, like, I don't know, any bits on the new van or growing my business, basically, I've not allowed for it. So I'm just sort of coasting at these prices, and it's not going to work, because the business has to make profit at the end of the day. And if it doesn't, it's just going to be stale and it's just going to die. So I'm really starting to look into bits like that and trying to learn and actually looking at what profit I actually made. Because it's like, oh, I nicked some spares off the van. Oh, I did this, I did that. And it's not really tracking anything. So it's really hard to know, because sometimes you'll get paid an invoice. You're like, oh yeah, wicked, this, that and the other. But you don't realise that, you know, materials, you've already paid for materials out of another load of money. I'm not explaining it very well, but I'm just trying to now look into that and look at my prices and to see, you know, what I need to earn, my wage, what it costs to run the business, which I have done to a certain extent, and my day rate does reflect that. But I think on some of these jobs, I've not allowed that bit for growth. So, you know, whether it's a case that I slap on 10% to all of my invoices to cover my profit, or I don't know. I do put 5% away into like a war chest of everything I earn, and I put 5% into a car, like a van kitty. So technically I am putting money away, but is that really money, or is that my money I'm putting away? If that makes sense. I don't think I'm explaining that well. Anyway, but that's what I'm going to be looking into and hopefully getting better. And hopefully you'll see that as I go along with this van rambling and other bits and bobs. Anyway, I think that'll do for today. Right, I'm back from that quote in Cambridge. It's actually a really involved job, and it's a hell of a cable route. And people throw about the term house basher for some domestic electricians. Now, I'm class myself as an electrician in general because I come from a varied background and can do quite a lot of this trade. But the people pigeonhole people into different bits. But to be a domestic electrician, the skill it takes to run cables well and not destroy someone's home, it is an art. So I feel like that term shouldn't be thrown about so much. So I'll definitely have to be a domestic electrician, use all of my skills to try and run that cable in and not destroy their home. But it's one hell of a run. I went down as well. I'll show you it after this clip, hopefully. I went down to my boy Winston. His chair broke, so he's got a mechanical chair to help him get up because he's kind of paralysed down one side. And the motor completely broke apart, and he couldn't get a repair person out. They said they don't do repairs on them and whatever. So I just went there and looked at it, looked at the part, found it on Amazon, and it's done now. Chair's fixed, so my hands are a bit dirty. There was a lot of grease on it. So I'm going to do that quote, and then tomorrow I'm off to Chiswick. So I'm working subbing for my mate Luke, and it is going to be a long few days. But basically, because of the travel, I'm going to drive down there tomorrow in my car because I don't want my van getting broke into, because we're going to stay down in an Airbnb down in that area. So I'm going to drive my car down, leave everything there, stay down there. We're going to do 2 10, 12-hour days, and then come back on the Friday, and I'll grab my kids on the way back through, and that will be the end of this monthly vlog, in theory. This is really heavy to hold out, by the way. Like, my arm is like proper hurting. I'm sitting in front of my bookshelf. You'll probably see more of this because I'm going to do a video on two-way lighting, and I'm going to be upgrading some of the electrics in my own home. But some books behind me. My missus is actually obsessed with books. Like, now she wants decorative ones that like have pretty bits and bobs on them. Such a loser. Anyway, let me show you the motor. This is the motor here. So this bracket at the bottom is made of plastic, and when Winston leant on the chair, it kind of twisted the chair slightly, which broke it. It's just wear and tear over time, but that just pushes this out, which pushes out. Imagine the recliner. It's like the leg bit that comes up like that, and then when it comes all the way back, it then lifts the chair up forward. But simple part to change, and saving the cost of a whole new chair. Oh yeah, and I had to upgrade my ECS card because it expired to go and work with Jaime. It is so damn expensive to renew one of these now. The health and safety course was about just under 60 quid, and I think the card itself was just under 50 quid. They do last 3 years, but geez, I mean, I've never had to pay for it because I've always been employed, but check out that mugshot. Jesus Christ, I look like a criminal. Oh, that's just blurry as hell, but imagine a convict. Oh God, that was a long drive. Had to come down in the old beast. It actually started this morning, and I managed to cram all my tools into it, because despite it having a soft top and barely any boot, it was made for people that play golf, so it's got enough boot. So I've got a few tools in here, got an overnight bag, staying down in Chiswick for a couple of nights to smash the shit out of this job. I'll try and show you inside this job. I don't know what the hell's going on or how many other trades are here. And then, yeah, I'll show you my digs. Right, this is a little clip of me on site. So we were just belling out the circuits, trying to find out what switch line's done what. As you can see, this place is an absolute tip. This is all the crap from downstairs, been thrown unceremoniously. If you look to your right here, there's no staircase either, so that's double dangerous. And there's just a lot of mess and detritus around the gaff. So all in all, a nice pleasant site. And this is my digs for the next few days. As you can see, I've just thrown everything unceremoniously about. A lot of pineapples here. You know what they say about upside down pineapples. The apprentice is sleeping on the pull-out, standard. Cheeky little bathroom and a little living space here. It's a nice little bungalow, and it had really secure parking for the van. Not that my van was here. And then Luke had the master bedroom and ensuite. Not bad. And this is the state of the back of my motor. All the tools unceremoniously crammed in. It does go deeper back, but still it was a bit of a challenge for this old girl. Right, that is that done. That was a hard couple of days. So it was a basement where the sump basically was off for like 6 months, and it flooded the basement completely. all of the floors started bowing up, so it's had to be completely redone, re-gutted out, and I think there might be a clip or two that I got of it, but I was just working so damn hard. So I'm down in where am I? SW13, right on the Thames. So it's a posh area. Been in digs. Digs were nice. It's a good little trip away, and it's one of those necessary evils at the minute where I'm just haven't got enough work, so I've got to take what's there. I mean, not that it was good. The fella looked after me, so he put me up in digs, paid for everything, bought me food, drink, everything. So I really can't complain. I'm absolutely cream crackered. Just got to now drive home, or sorry, not drive home. Now I've got to drive over to North London to grab my kiddie winkles and then start my weekend afresh. But this is the last day of the month, and it's been an interesting first month to start me off this year. As you've seen, it was kind of finding my feet of what I was actually doing with this, but I think doing it monthly and focusing on the business side of things and what I'm getting up to in general makes more sense, because it's something that people who are trying to do it, they can see the ups and downs of what I'm getting up to, and hopefully should paint it in a real light and not the get given free stuff kind of influencer life. I don't get anything for free, and I struggle. But my car has made it. It has started, so I'm going to start heading back. The footwell is completely full of mud, and that's a bit disappointing. But anyway, cheers for sticking with it this long, and I'm hoping to get a bit more continuity and a little bit more, I'll get better as I go along. I mean, hopefully the picture quality is getting better, the sound quality is getting better, and then hopefully the direction of what I'm trying to do gets better. I've got a couple of educational bits coming out as well. You've probably seen one come out already, and then there should be another couple. So they're going to be interspliced with this business kind of stuff. Anyway, I think I'll leave it there for this month. January done. I'll see you in February, where hopefully things pick up. Cheers, guys.